Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to another edition of 15 Minutes with the Captain. I'm your host today, Captain Zabit. To my left, my reader is
Officer Anias.
Today, we're going to talk about a particular issue that plagues the mind of our Christian brethren and sisters. They believe that every day is holy. Is every day holy? Can I keep every day holy? And again, this is for your mamas, your daddies, your uncles, your puppies that believe in white Jesus. Right? That believe that every day is holy. You can keep whatever day you want. You ain't got to keep the Sabbath day. Every day is holy. Let's start right here. Let's go to Matthew chapter 28, verse 1. Why do they believe every day is holy? Here's a what's the word? A scriptural roadblock for them. Let's go.
The book of Matthew, chapter 28 and verse 1.
Yeah.
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
So what we recognize is that the Christian has no contextual idea what they're reading. They just hear first day of the week. It must be Sunday. Now, how's the first day of the week Sunday, but yet they don't know what day the Sabbath is? It's crazy. But anyway, the point is they read that scripture and they say that they came to the tomb on the first day of the week. That means that Christ rose on the first day of the week. Read on.
And behold, there was a great earthquake. For the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it.
Okay, here it comes.
His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and become as dead men. Mm-hmm. And the angel answered and said unto the woman,
Let's see what he said to the women.
Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here.
What did they say?
He is not here.
So how did he rise up on the first day of the week if they showed up and he wasn't there? That means they was late. Just like you going to church on Sunday, you're late. You're there too late. The wrong time, the wrong day, he ain't there. Let's go to Acts chapter 20, verse 7. Again, they try to go to the disciples. They try to go to the apostles as if they didn't know what they was doing. Come on, let's read the scripture.
The book of Acts, chapter 20 and verse 7.
Yeah.
And upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them, ready to depart on the morrow, and continued his speech until midnight.
So Paul was teaching his brothers and sisters on the first day of the week. Did that mean now Christ has now shifted the day of the week because Paul was teaching brothers and sisters on that day? Guess what? You can read the Bible any day of the week. You can talk to your brothers and sisters, preach to your brothers and sisters any day of the week. There's nothing wrong with that. But that doesn't make it holy. There are specific instances that make the day holy. And the first point that makes the day holy is because God said so. Let's go to Luke chapter 4 and verse 16. You want to follow the example of Paul, or do you want to follow the example of Christ? Come on.
The book of Luke chapter 4 and verse 16.
And I say that to not make you think that what Paul did was contradictory to Christ, because it wasn't. It's just your Christian mind is contradictory to Christ. Read it again.
Luke chapter 4 and verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read.
So Christ went to church on the Sabbath day. That is our example. That's who we should be following. We're not Paulatians. You call yourself a Christian. That means a follower of Christ. A disciple of Christ, meaning the same disciplines that Christ applied to his life, you should be applying to yours. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 8.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 8. Jesus Christ, the same yesterday.
The same yesterday. Before he died, he was the same.
And today.
And today, he's still the same.
And forever.
And forever. When Christ returns, guess what you're going to be keeping? The Sabbath day. Now, a key thing that plagues our people, besides that scripture, is they'll say, well, we don't know what day the Sabbath day is. We not sure, right? So I'm going to try to break it down for you, give you an explanation. All right, here we go. We're going to start with Luke chapter 2, verse 1, I believe it is. Let's get it.
The book of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Yeah.
And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus.
From who?
From Caesar Augustus.
So the Bible aligns the timeline in which Christ was living, the apostles lived, all those different things, right? So we see right here, Caesar Augustus. So what does that mean if Caesar Augustus is setting forth decrees? That means that Julius Caesar has already reigned and died. So if Julius Caesar has already reigned and died, guess what he created in 46 BC? The Julian calendar. The Julian calendar is the same calendar that we use today. But the only difference is, the only nuance is, that's my word for today, nuance. The only difference is that they shifted, right? Because you use the Gregorian calendar, which was created in 1582. The only difference of that was a shift of 10 days in order to align the winter and spring solstice, the winter and spring equinoxes, so they could continue to worship the sun on the days they had appointed, the so-called Romans, when they set these things up. Now, we're going to go to we're going to go to John chapter 11 and verse 47. Come on.
The book of John, chapter 11 and verse 47.
Yeah.
Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, What do we? For this man doth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him. And the Romans...
And who?
And the Romans...
So again, showing you that the Romans had rulership over Israel, over Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Shall come and take away both our place and nation.
So guess what? The calendar that Julius Caesar, the Julian calendar that was created, had already been in existence for over 50 years at this point. So that means that when Christ went to keep the Sabbath, guess what? It was still the same Sabbath that we keep today, because we still apply the Julian calendar to our life today. It's called the Gregorian calendar. Like I said, it's only a shift of 10 days. Don't mean that they shift the days of the week. They shifted their calendar days. I hope that makes sense. And if it don't make sense, give me a call. All right. So with that, let's go to the book of Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 4.
The book of Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 4.
Yeah.
For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise.
So you got to think to yourself, right? We just cleared up the confusion on why we might think that the Sabbath isn't the Sabbath. In the New Testament, in Hebrews, Paul is still communicating with us about the Sabbath day. If he wasn't keeping the Sabbath, why is he telling people in Hebrews to still keep the Sabbath? Come on.
And God did rest the seventh day from all his works.
Mm-hmm.
And in the place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein.
Read that again.
Seeing therefore it remaineth.
It remaineth. See, Paul says, seeing therefore the Sabbath, guess what? Still remains. This is the New Testament, Israel. Why is this confusing to you? Why do you think every day is holy? No, the Sabbath day is holy. That day the Lord set aside and said, rest. You can work 6 days out of the week, but the Sabbath, you keep it holy. And you read that, and a lot of you so-called Christians know that, but you don't got the courage to change. Read on.
Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached enter not in because of unbelief.
You don't enter in. Why? Because of unbelief, because you don't got the courage to change. You know your pastor up there don't got no clue what he's talking about, and you know that the Sabbath is the Sabbath is the Sabbath, but yeah, you still going to church because you don't got no courage. You don't got no belief. You don't believe what the Bible say. Come on.
Again, he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. Mm-hmm. For if Jesus had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day?
Go ahead.
Then remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God.
There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. You so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, you are the people of God. The Sabbath remains for you, and you're going to be judged. Go ahead.
For he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own works, as God did from his.
So in order to enter into his rest, you have to cease from your works. You got to not work, buy, sell. You're not supposed to kindle fire. These are the things you have to do in order to make it holy. The Lord only assigned one day for that to happen. Go ahead.
Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest.
So we said, let us think ahead. Let us labor. Let us do our research. Let us make sure we're doing and following the commandments as it is written. Go ahead.
Lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief.
But you'll fall into the example of unbelief. Why? Because you don't have the courage to walk out of the Christian church. We're reading in the New Testament, in Hebrews, that Paul is still telling them to keep the Sabbath. If you don't keep the Sabbath, you're in unbelief. Let's go to Revelation chapter 1, verse 10.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 10.
Yeah.
I was in the spirit on the Lord's day.
Dang.
And heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet.
So the Lord's day is the Sabbath. Let's jump to Revelations 22, verse 14. Like we saw before, Christ kept the Sabbath. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 22, verse 14.
Yes.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city.
Part of you entering into the gates of the kingdom of heaven is you applying that commandment, not believing that every day is holy. Every day isn't holy. You made that up. 1 John chapter 2, verse 3. If every day was holy, that would mean you shouldn't be buying, cooking, or selling on no days of the week. Are you doing that? No. Come on.
The book of 1 John chapter 2 and verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments.
We know that we know God if we apply his commandments to our life. Not how we want to do it, not when we want to do it, by the specific instruction that he's given us. Sirach 14 and verse 14.
The book of Sirach chapter 14 and verse 14. Defraud not thyself of the good day.
See, you don't even know that you're defrauding yourself by not applying God's commandments. You're defrauding yourself of the kingdom of heaven, first of all. You're defrauding yourself of the brotherhood and the unity of the children of Israel. And you're defrauding yourself of the promises of God because you don't want to do something so simple as has the courage to walk out of that lying factory of Christianity. Read it again.
Defraud not thyself of the good day, and let not the part of a good desire overpass thee.
But the part that you let overpass you is you want to do it when it's convenient for you instead of when God told you to do it. So, Israel, is every day holy? Of course it's not. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.